I'm on the way. She knew how to catch the subway and all that, where to go. Yeah, on the way there, it's like we turned one corner, and all of a sudden, it was a sunny day, and the next, we turned the corner, and all of a sudden it's overcast. And look around, what the hell going on? It's like crowds of people, a large number of people just lining up and down these streets, and they had these huge overhead like mirrors. I guess it was blocking the sunlight. And I was like, what the hell is that? She was like, oh, they filming a movie. You wanna go over there and check it out and see? Sometimes you can see stars and stuff from right there. I was like, nah, I don't wanna. Only thing I want to do is get this money and get out of here, get back to Atlanta. So anyway, we get to what is this? Avenue of the Americas, Bank of America. That's the account that was his account, his bank. Um, and I remember walking in and seeing the address was 666, and I was like, oh, how appropriate. So I go in there, and the teller says, she takes the check and puts in some numbers, and she was like, oh, I can't do anything with this. The account is frozen. I was like, what? I was like, what you mean it's frozen? Is not enough money to cover it or what? She's like, I can't tell you anything about it. It's just that the account is frozen. And it was like, world just stopped. And I'm standing in New York. I don't have no money. The check that I was given from this huge record deal, that was in all the papers and everything, right? The little $2,000, $3,000, I can't even get that shit. I'm stuck in New York. I'm looking at Michelle. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I go outside. Now you gotta remember, this is before the internet, before cell phones. I go outside, find a payphone, and I call home. And shit, it might have been collect. But I remember just like, please don't let my dad answer the phone. Please don't let my dad answer the phone. Cause even though my dad would have sent the money, boy, I would have had to hear it. You went all the way overseas, and they said y'all signed $100 million deal, and you come back here, you ain't got nothing. You ain't got no money to get back home. So anyway, my mom answered the phone. I think some of the first thing I said was like, Mom, I'm in trouble. I'm in New York and I'm stuck. Things didn't work out. The check that they gave me wasn't clear. So I need enough money to get back to Atlanta. Uh, me and Michelle, we need to get back. She sent enough money for me and Michelle, because the family already met Michelle, so they liked her and everything. So I was like, we coming back to Atlanta. Here's the thing. Now I have to call Mansa because I don't have an apartment in Atlanta, have no place to stay. I called Mansa and I was like, look, me and Michelle is coming back on the bus, man. If you could, I think I asked him to pick us up from the bus station. But if you could let us stay with you for a little, I'm gonna get a job, and if you could let us stay with you for a little while till we get back on our feet. So he said, yeah. I mean, he was. We slept on his floor. We slept on his floor for like a couple months till we was able to get get an apartment. I started working. Michelle worked. We saved up, got an apartment. It was in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Tucker, Georgia. and it was like $750 a month, 2-bedroom, upstairs, downstairs. And this is where the story gets interesting. I'm at work. I get a phone call. It was Bernard Rhodes. So when I picked up the phone and I heard his voice and I realized, I just immediately started cussing him out because I thought he was going to hang up again. It's like, what the fuck are you calling me for? Well, basically what had happened was, in that 2 months time that I got the apartment, the tracks that we recorded before we left to come home for the holidays, the record company fell in love with that. They wanted to put up the budget to do a whole album. So anyway, when we were scheduled to come back, Bernard and Doug, they, we had a little meeting or whatever, and they was like, look, man, they want to do an album, and, we go back, things gonna get better, man. Da-da-da. I was like, man, I'm not going fucking nowhere. I had to go home for the holidays. I remember my dad saying, man, I knew that wasn't about shit when they was sneaking y'all over there one at a time. I had to hear it from, I was like, there's no fucking, I had already made up my mind. Ain't no fucking way I'm going back over. I'm not getting on no plane going nowhere. Going back over there for what? So, I had already made up my mind, but they was like, the record company's all excited now. They want us to come back and do a whole album. I said, shit, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm not going nowhere. We signed $100 million album and we ain't got no money, and I came back here broke. I had to borrow money from my mama to get back here. I'm working. I got an apartment. I'm not leaving no more. I'm not going nowhere. And I definitely was not leaving. And leaving Michelle with the apartment, the responsibility of the apartment. And I'm going to go traipsing all over the fucking planet talking about, making records where they don't know nothing about the business, nothing about the money. I was like, man, fuck Sony, fuck London, all that shit. I'm not getting on no plane. I'm not going nowhere. He's like, okay, man, well, we going. I was like, bye. So they went back. I'm still working. I'm not thinking about Bernard Rhodes, London, none of that shit. The only thing I thought about Bernard Rhodes was if I ever see him, I would have if I would have, oh boy, if I could have got to that man, like if he had an office in the States, like if I could have got my hands on, like I would be in prison or dead now. When he hung up on me, right? So I have not heard from Bernard Rhodes since he hung up the phone in my face on the payphone. I'm on the payphone outside the bank in New York, in Manhattan, stranded. Matter of fact, I didn't have enough money to pay for the hotel. We had to go back to the JFK airport, and Michelle, her family's from Alabama and New York. Like her mom, I think their roots in Alabama. People used to say, Michelle is quiet and whatever. Boy, when we went back to that hotel, it was an Indian dude, right? There's always Indian guys, always a Patel. So he's trying to say you gotta pay for 2 days, cause and we was only like maybe 30 minutes from maybe an hour or something. It was like real close to the time of checkout, right? Being over the time of checkout. So at this time, I mean, whenever that movie Deadpool, when when the character gets the news that he has cancer, and then it kind of goes silent, and then he was like, his girlfriend just springs into action, and she starts asking all these questions about the doctor and this, that, and other, and he just turns and looks at her, and he's kind of out of it. Whenever I see that scene, I think about that day because that's what Michelle did. The New York came out of her. She argued that man down. She argued this dude down to where I didn't have to pay, but just for the one day, and we got out of there. Uh, I was in a daze just because like everything that was happening.